Welcome to HealWithNature.com videos. We provide you with no-nonsense ways to live a long, healthy life and help you understand how your body works. We took notes for you too. Follow the link below in the show notes to download your free checklist. If you have any questions, please leave us a comment. Welcome to the Garden of Light. My name is Dr. Mitch Kennedy. I'm a naturopathic physician here in Avon, Connecticut, and I'm also the first naturopathic physician to be credentialed to practice medicine at the University of Connecticut in Farmington. I'd like to thank Tim Smolders, the owner of the Garden of Light, for allowing us to have a little get-together here. I'm a big fan of locally owned, independent health food stores. I think they're sort of the source of health and vitality for the community. And Tim's always been very supportive of naturopathic medicine and all different modalities, acupuncture, massage, Reiki, all those things. So I would like to thank Tim publicly, and I hope you all enjoy the store as well. Tonight, we're going to talk about the flu, and more specifically, how not to get sick with the flu. How many of you have already gotten your flu shots? No? Okay. Welcome. Come on in and have a seat. The flu this year has gotten more media hype than usual. Usually flu season starts around September and extends through March, and the media picks it up. It's in all the newspapers, on the radio shows, and the TV, and everybody says, oh, get your flu shots and you'll be safe. So what we're seeing with these viruses is a rapid amount of mutation and changes that have rendered these very expensive drugs practically ineffective. So it's hard to say if this is really an overreaction or not, because on the one hand you've got all the hype, and on the other hand you've got this diminishing effectiveness of conventional medications. And if we look historically at great epidemics of flu, like in the 1918, anybody who remembers that, or grandparents remember that, that was a worldwide pandemic, meaning it went all the way around the world. About 50% of the world's population at the time actually came down with the flu. Can you imagine that? 1 out of every 2 people in the world in 1918 was sick with this flu. It was called the Spanish flu. And it resulted in 678,000 deaths here in the United States. So it was quite a serious event. And worldwide, there was over between 50 and 100 million people killed as a result of this flu. And that flu affected not the elderly, which is the common demographic that dies from the common flu, but the people from the ages of 20 to 45. Interestingly enough, this swine flu affects that same demographic. So that's where the Centers for Disease Control and the United Nations World Health Organization, that's where their concern comes from, is this historical precedent of the Spanish flu. So what can we do? We feel sort of powerless when we say statistics like that, right? Well, the fact of the matter is that even in the worst epidemics that have ever occurred on Earth, for example, the plague, right, the Black Death, they say, oh, it was really terrible, 50% of the people who got it died. Well, the contrasting side to that is 50% of the people who got it lived, right? So what was different about them? You know, why did these people survive? And what we know is that in naturopathic medicine, we focus on the vitality of the individual. You know, making sure that we have everything our bodies need to protect ourselves and keep our immune system at its peak and be able to recognize viruses and kill them as they come in. Also, something that wasn't around during the time of the plague was good hygiene, right? So, you know, we don't have our rats running around anymore. We can protect ourselves through good hygiene also. So what we're going to do is go down through a list of basically 2 broad categories. One is strengthening the immune system, and 2 is avoiding stressors that depress your natural system. So what's the first thing you can do? First basic thing has to do with food. Anybody know? You know anything about sugar?
Don't eat sugar.
Don't eat sugar. Why? Why?
Well, it just plays havoc with your immune system.
It actually stuns your white blood cells and makes them unable to respond to foreign bodies like viruses and bacteria for a period of time. So the more white sugar, corn syrup, artificial sweeteners, other things that interact with the immune system that you take in, the longer that those cells are not going to be able to respond. And if you also happen to be exposed to somebody who has the flu or is sick, you're more likely to pick it up and have it multiply in your body. So the first thing is make sure that you're limiting your sugar intake. Now, fruits are a different story. Fruits have a different kind of sugar that's a little bit more metabolizable and more easily taken into the body and doesn't have quite the same effect as, say, corn syrup does. Do we all need a vitamin, multivitamin? Yes? Why? Welcome. No problem. We're just getting started. Why do we need a multivitamin? So the foods we're eating don't have the same nutrients, and the environmental stressors we're under are placing greater stress on our bodies than at any other time. I believe that to be true. I believe that the way we currently raise our food as an industrial crop rather than as a true connection to nature, and our practices of using synthetic fertilizers and synthetic pesticides actually damage the antioxidants and the other nutrients in the food that would protect us and protect the plant itself. Also, we're exposed to more chemicals now than we've ever been exposed to, chemicals that even interact with our hormones and can affect us at very large and very broad levels, and can even affect a developing fetus, which is something that typically hasn't been the case in the recent past. So there's a number of things that we need vitamins for to detoxify our bodies. Whenever we take these chemicals into our body, whether we inhale them or we drink them or we eat them intentionally or accidentally, our liver is the organ that's detoxifying those chemicals and trying to get them out, breaking them down. So if we don't have our B vitamins, our C vitamins, our antioxidants, we're not going to have that raw material, those raw chemicals that we need in order to run the liver. So that's the basic reason why everybody should be taking a good quality multivitamin. What's a good quality multivitamin? It comes in a capsule, right? Because capsules are more easily broken apart than tablets. Tablets are hard compressed objects. They have coatings on the outside, waxes and finishes to keep them from chipping, and that keeps your body from getting at what's inside. They also tend to have fillers and things to hold the tablet together, and that also keeps the body from getting at what's inside. Whereas a capsule's loose, the powder's in there, dissolves very quickly and opens up and disperses. The only thing better is a liquid. So those are two hallmarks. The third would be bioavailability, having things in a format that's easily broken down and taken into the body and into circulation and used by the different parts of your body. So in a nutshell, get something that you might pay a little bit extra for, because in this current environment and regulatory environment, there isn't a lot of control over quality when you come into the basic store and you're looking at vitamins. You want to get it from a locally owned health food store if you can, a big name brand vitamin company that is spending a lot on their quality control and spending a lot on their product. Should children take a multivitamin too? Yes, I believe so, because they're developing and yet they're also exposed to the same things we're exposed to. In fact, children being so much closer to the ground are exposed to higher concentrations than adults who are up a little bit higher. So for example, car exhaust, diesel exhaust, pesticides, all those things are far more concentrated down at ground level. Kids get down on the ground and they roll around, you know. So yeah, definitely. Okay, what's another big key for staying healthy? Something you're all going to... Rest and sleep, exactly. Are you looking at my notes? You want to get 8 hours a night, 8 hours of good sleep, not just go to bed at 10 and wake up at 6 but have trouble falling asleep. You want to get into bed early enough so that you're asleep for 8 hours. And if you need to have something to do beforehand, like read or do yoga or stretch, listen to music, by all means do it, but don't let it cut into that 8 hours. You want to have good sleep hygiene. You know what sleep hygiene is? It's a dark room, essentially. A dark, quiet room. It's a place where you're not doing other things, so you can't have your bed in your office. That's not good. It's not good to be in a room with a lot of other activities going on. So even the TV many times is a distraction. A lot of people that come into my office to see me, they say, oh, yeah, I sleep fine. I said, well, you know, do you sleep with a partner? And they say, yeah. I said, well, does your partner sleep fine? I said, no, my partner snores all the time. Do you watch TV? Yeah, I watch TV. I fall asleep with the TV on. Well, all that noise, the snoring and the noise of the TV is playing in the background while you're trying to sleep, and it's disrupting your sleep rhythms. So if you don't wake up feeling refreshed in the morning, you're not getting either enough sleep or the right kind of sleep, and which is very common. About 85% of the American populace is sleep deprived. Now, let's say we're looking down this aisle of the store here. What's another thing we might want to avoid during a flu season or if we start to get sick?
Dairy.
Dairy, yes. I love cheese, I love milk, I love yogurt, but the darn stuff creates mucus. And a lot of sinus problems can be traced back to consumption of dairy. A lot of food allergies are related to dairy, skin problems. And the more mucus you have in your body, the harder it is for your lymphatic system to move all the gobbled up virus particles that your white blood cells are taking care of. And so things get sluggish and congested, and then you can't breathe right, and so then you're not getting the oxygen in that you need, and it sort of becomes a chain reaction. So cutting out dairy for a part of the year may be a good thing for you. Might help you clear your head, so to speak. Now, some other things. Have any of you ever heard of ginseng? What about astragalus? What about, let's take a peek, rhodiola? Ashwagandha. Okay. These are all adaptogens. Reishi, maitake, shiitake. These are mushrooms that are adaptogens. Coriolis. These are all products of the earth, of nature, that have very complicated chemicals. They're called, they're basically complicated sugar particles, and they work with your immune system to increase the activity of certain white blood cells. The white blood cells that are most responsible for attacking things, killing them, and breaking them down. So there's a lot of research in Japan and Asia about things like ginseng and the mushroom family. In India, there's a lot of research on ashwagandha. In Russia and Siberia, there's a lot of research done on rhodiola. So there's all sorts of adaptogens all over the world that people have been using for centuries. And we can make use of them during the cold and flu season to heighten our immune response and to head things off at the pass. So we can take vitamin D supplements. How much vitamin D should you have? 50,000 international units. That's the prescription dose. It's usually given by prescription for a short period of time. Vitamin D is one of my favorite vitamins. Okay? There's 8 types of cancer that it can prevent that we know of, that there's actually clinical research showing that it prevents. There's high blood pressure that it prevents. Strengthens bones, everybody knows that. Prevents the wintertime blues. Not too many people know that, but that's the other thing it does. And now recent research in the last couple of years shows it's also antiviral. So that's the reason why I mentioned it today.
What's a good dose?
A good dose. First, I like to have all my patients tested, because there are some people who do have adequate levels and they don't need to supplement. So if you get yourself tested in August, that's about the most vitamin D you're going to get around here, up in the Northeast. You should be, the normal range according to most labs is anywhere from 30 to 100. Okay? I like to see it at 70, and the reason I like to see it at 70 is the research done to prevent cancers like prostate, ovarian, breast, lung, and colon cancer. What they see is significant inhibition of cancers at 70. So what we want to do is get tested, see what our levels are, and then I usually put people on about 1,000 to 2,000 international units a day from September 1st to May 1st. The next thing is you want to be happy. Why do you want to be happy?
Endorphins.
Endorphins. You are smart. You get the gold star for the day. The happier you are, the more serotonin you have, the more positive outlook you have on life, the more beneficial impact that has on the immune system. You can actually pep up your immune system by being happy. And some of you might know the stories and the studies of people who've had cancer and sat in front of comedy shows on the TV for hours and hours. And Bernie Siegel talks about this. A lot of other cancer notorious cancer treatment advocates will talk about using humor to help you when you're sick. And it really does. There's clinical studies. They've actually studied people who've laughed a lot and have been happy and how their immune system works. So be happy. And that's also has to do with how you manage your stress. Right? Because you can't lead a stress-free life. It's impossible. All you can do is learn how to manage it better. So if you have a spiritual practice, that's great. If that provides you solace. If you have a yoga practice or a Tai Chi practice or Qigong or some other martial arts, or you like swimming or you like biking or Taibo, whatever it is, find something that makes you happy, that you enjoy doing, and do that as a stress relief and stress management tool. Also, that brings up exercise, which isn't on the list, but I'm going to mention it anyway. When you exercise, you increase your circulatory rate, right? Blood starts pumping faster. And remember what I said about the liver, right? So the liver is this big filter. And in order for the liver and the lymph system to work well, stuff has to go through it. If you're sitting around all day, is it moving very quickly? Are you filtering very well? Not so much. Okay? Yes, you are. I mean, the blood does pump and it does go around, but really, when you get that circulation moving at a more rapid rate and the heart's really pumping, you're increasing the pressure behind the liver and it's filtering at a better rate. So that would be another reason to exercise. The next one I bet everybody knows.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands, right. Wash your hands. You start to see signs all over the place now. When I'm at the hospital, every bathroom has wash your hands and this guy in a mask. They've done studies. Do you know what the national average is for healthcare practitioners in terms of the percentage that actually wash their hands between one patient and the next? Take a guess.
5%. Oh, that's gross.
5% do or don't?
No. I mean 5% do.
5% do. You're a pessimist. It's 20% do. Yeah. It's 20%. Every treatment room in a clinic should have a sink in it. If it doesn't, the doctor should come in with a towel in his hands, because you're not supposed to touch doorknobs either, right?
Gel, like
Yeah, does that help?
The gel, the sanitary gel is usually an alcohol-based gel so that it dries.
Yeah.
And really you're just kind of pushing the germs around on your hands.
See if it doesn't get rid of it.
I've looked into soap and water versus gel, and the studies show that soap and water is better. Yeah.
The gel's better than nothing.
When we were in medical school and we were doing cadaver lab, which is what you do for anatomy, we were told to sing happy birthday while we wash our hands. And if you wash your hands for that length of time, you're really going to cover all the surfaces and you're really going to get it as clean as you need to get. So, what other things do you have to keep clean? Anything you touch, right? Doorknobs, pens, phones. I mean, you can get kind of crazy like Howard Hughes, right? But things that other people touch, a lot more of these virus particles are actually transmitted by touch in direct contact than through respiratory inhalation Obviously, you want to cough, cover your mouth, you sneeze, you cover your face, whatever, but wiping your hands on your face is one of the main ways that these particles get into your body. You'd be surprised at, yeah, how long these particles can survive outside the body. So,
Hours, like days and months.
and that brings up the last thing. If you're sick, stay home, right? Right, contain yourself. It's been in the news recently. There was a group at a college up in New Hampshire where the kids didn't stay in their room. They got everybody else in the whole area sick. So, what about the vaccine? Right. So here's my take on it. It's personal, professional opinion. For the last 4 out of 5 years, they've chosen the wrong strain of the flu vaccine, and so the vaccine hasn't provided protection. Okay. And this is the standard flu we're talking about, not the swine flu. So that's the first thing. The second thing is it has egg in it, so if you're allergic to eggs, you can't take the vaccine. Thirdly, it's preserved these days either with thimerosal, which is a mercury-based preservative, or aluminum, which is not good to be injecting in your body either. And finally, if you are compromised in some way, immune compromised or excessively run down, if you have chronic fatigue or fibromyalgia, and you challenge the body with a vaccine, many of these people will respond very poorly and actually become ill from the vaccine. So the type of people that come to my office tend to be more sensitive to chemicals, tend to be more compromised in their health. And so as a result, I have other alternatives for them. One is a homeopathic that is made from the actual vaccine, and that's made by a company, Boiron. I don't own stock. There's nothing in it for me to mention the name other than that it's the only one I know of. It's available at most health food stores also.
What's it called?
The company's name is Boiron.
Yeah, what is
It's called Influenzinum, and it'll be coming out, it comes out every year, and it'll be coming out October 16th. So, the other thing that is extremely useful if you do happen to come in contact with someone who's sick and you feel like you're getting the flu is another product by that same company called oxylococcinum. I know they have it here, and it's made from homeopathic remedy of duck liver. Duck liver. Yeah.
Are these safe for children? I mean, I worry about my kids, but I don't feel comfortable.
Is what safe for children?
These homeopathic
Yes.
products.
Homeopathy has a long history of over 200 years being used. It's very safe for children. It's actually one of the main things I use with children.
And you have to reduce dosage based on.
No, typically not, because it's an energetic medicine rather than a biochemical medicine.
Okay, so whatever the dosage they recommend.
Yep. I think I have just one last thing to say, and then we'll take some more questions. So in closing, the flu is something that's been around for a long, long time. And if you are susceptible to it and you come in contact with someone who has had it, yes, you have a very good likelihood of becoming sick. For some people, it can be a very dangerous situation. Those people who are in communal living situations like dorms, rest homes, nursing homes, people who work in hospital facilities and are treating people who have respiratory ailments, those are all situations where it may be safer to get a vaccine when you counter the risk of the preservative against the benefit of the vaccine. Because in those environments, it's very easy to spread the virus around to susceptible people. So that's the sort of the conventional philosophy, and I believe that to some degree that needs to be honored because that's where conventional medicine is practiced, is in inpatient facilities where there's a lot of people that things could spread very quickly. That's why we keep having flu problems, is because the flu strains keep mutating. They shift a little bit one way or the other, and that's all it takes.
Did
Sure. Let's pull the list out. Cut down or eliminate your sugars, right? Because sugars stun white blood cells. Take a high quality multivitamin every day because you need those B vitamins and antioxidants. Create time to rest and sleep and get 8 hours of good sleep in a good sleep environment. So practice good sleep hygiene. Avoid dairy when you feel symptoms coming on, or if you prefer, avoid dairy for the entire flu season. There's plenty of alternatives, by the way. There's soy milks, rice milks, hemp milks, almond milks, oat milks, all sorts of milk substitutes, so you don't really have to go lacking anymore. Take an adaptogen, and fake cheese and fake yogurt and fake ice cream, coconut ice cream. It's just gotten really quite diverse. So take an adaptogen, right? The adaptogens are ginsengs and astragalus and ashwagandha and rhodiola and all the mushrooms, reishi, maitake, shiitake, coriolis. All of those help build the immune system and support the adrenal glands. Check your vitamin D levels and get on vitamin D. Don't forget to be happy, right? Because the happiness helps the immune system function better. Practice good hygiene. Wash your hands. Make your doctor wash his hands. Clean your doorknobs in public. If you share a desk with someone at work, make sure that the desk gets cleaned. If you get sick, stay home. Don't spread it around. That's pretty straightforward.
HR sent out an email that said that.
And if you want to do something naturally through a homeopathic vaccine, I would suggest that you look into that. So, great.
What do you suggest to clean our doorknobs from?
Soap and water. That's what I use, or some of the natural cleaners. Yeah, there's no need to get involved with heavy-duty chemicals. It's just a virus.
Do you use tea tree? Like I use tea tree.
You can use tea tree, Citrusolve. You can use Dr. Bronner's. Yeah, there's lots of good ones out there. Yeah. Yep. The website is healwithnature.com. HEALWITHNATURE.com. Great. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate your coming out. You've been a great audience. Phew, that was a lot of information. But we boiled it all down for you into a free checklist, which is in the show notes down below. And by clicking on the discount link, you'll get a 15% discount on physician quality supplements and support us in making more videos for you. We thank you in advance for your support.